Hello friends, I'm Becca Scott and welcome to How to Play Painters Corner. We're painting all 7 of the monster figures featured in Horrified, Universal Monsters from Ravensburger. In this episode, artist extraordinaire Nox Berf adds a little flair to the creature from the Black Lagoon. You can check out the How to Play and Game the Game right here on Geek and Sundry if you want to get caught up on all things Horrified. And now, let's toss it on over to Nox.
Thanks, Becca. Let's not get bogged down in the details. We've got the creature from the Black Lagoon ready to go. Let's get our brushes and get painting. Before we begin painting, it's helpful to do some prep work. We're going to gather some simple tools and we're going to use them to clean up the imperfections in the model that can happen during the manufacturing process. We're going to use an X-Acto knife or a hobby knife to clean off the mold lines. It's fairly common to have these and it's going to be easy to remove with just a little bit of work. You're also going to want a hobby file and an emery board. We're going to use these to smooth out surfaces to create a perfect finish before we begin our priming process. Now that our miniature has been prepped, we're ready to prime. To do so, we're going to start with a basic black undercoat. Now I'm using an airbrush to do this, but don't be intimidated if you don't have an airbrush. You can do this with an aerosol spray can that you can get from a hobby store or from online. Once you have the black undercoat completed, what we're going to do is we're going to use a white ink. And that white ink is going to be sprayed in one direction over the black undercoat. And it's going to create what's called a zenithal highlight. And what that's going to do is it's going to simulate light and shadow, depth and nuance on our miniature. Now that we have the zenithal priming complete, we're ready to begin our base coat. And as I said, we are doing this with glazing. Glazing is a thinner version of paint than what you might be used to using. Typical acrylic paint can be very thick and opaque. We want to create something that's translucent. You can use either water or mixing medium to do this. We're going to start with a green tone. Not surprising, but what we're going to do to make this different is we're going to heavily wash the green tone and then use highlighting to create differentiation between all the wonderful texture that the scales offer us. Now the details for the creature from the Black Lagoon take a little bit of special care. I'm using a flat tip brush with a heavy load of paint to pick out all the highlights on the scales. And I'm pulling it across the miniature not unlike a dry brush, but with much more paint. I'm then going to begin painting the eyes and the mouth using a dark black color. This is creating further contrast, but most importantly what it's doing, it's allowing us to have a focal point for the model. Finally, I'm going to finish it all off with a series of glazes. Now these are light green glazes that are going to allow us to create a wet and slimy look to the creature's flesh. And with that, the creature from the Black Lagoon is ready for your gaming table. And that's the creature from the Black Lagoon, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, we'll be painting the rest of these monsters right here on Geek and Sundry. And if you want to see some other Universal monsters in action, tune into Game the Game, coming to you on October 3rd. And be sure to check out Horrified, Universal Monsters, available now at Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, and your local hobby store. I'm Nox Berf, and I'll see you next time.